We're back, people. What is up? Another little stream going on today, going over the keys to success in 2025. And we have gone over some, a lot of different keys to success for this upcoming season. And we'll give those broad sort of statements, but I want to go into like the specifics of what they really need for the success this upcoming season, and also a little bit going into the future. So we're gonna go get into all of that once people start getting in here. Some other things that I believe. I think there were some interviews happening today with McDaniel, before practice and stuff like that. Nothing too crazy to really break down there, but yeah, once people get in here, we'll go into these keys to success that I have written down. So we'll get into this pretty quickly. Scrolling down. So Miami Dolphins keys to success. To start with like the broad statements, it really is just run. I think run game on like both sides of the ball. Run game offensively, for a lot of different reasons. We saw how that affected the team in 2024, not being able to run the ball as consistently and effectively. And the players that I think are going to be probably some of the biggest factors is, one, you have upgraded the guard position. So I think that will be a nice boost. But also, I think the tackles are more important overall. Specifically, staying healthy for Austin Jackson's a key. But how well can the depth possibly play when Jackson has to miss? And then also getting to guys like Patrick Paul. Can he step up, play at a higher level? I do think he will be better than he was last season. But what level does he end up reaching? Especially in the run game. Health is huge for sure. And that probably goes even without saying. Just health, especially at QB and O-line, such a big part of the team. But just running the ball, I think, opens up so much. And then two players that I think need to be talked about more in terms of like how well they play will be huge. Because I feel like we talk a lot about just the offensive line, and obviously that's a big part of it. But Julian Hill and Alec Ingold are actually pretty big keys to success with this offense, because the Dolphins love to run outside zone. They like to, get out on the perimeter with their crack toss plays, things like that. So Julian Hill and Alec Ingold, and with all the motion they use, they are constantly, very constantly, point of attack blockers. Like some of the big, where the running back is working off of, a lot of times it's the tight end or the fullback. So having someone who can create some consistent lanes, because there was times last year where it was more so on them than the O-line in certain games, certain situations. I think Nick Westbrook-Akine will play a big role in some of those stuff. It's a lot of the run game blocking specifically, but those players I think have kind of gone under the radar with the importance that they're going to have role-wise in this offense, but will they actually be able to execute? Who knows? I think both will probably play better with a better offensive line next to them, because I think it's all connected. There's a marriage that goes out from, whether you want to go inside out, outside in, the tight ends to tackles are connected, and these players are working a lot of combo blocks, and that's kind of something that goes underrated. And then if that is able to succeed, which I do believe the run game will be better, I don't know which level, but when the run game flourishes, that opens up the pass game. So it all kind of builds into each other. The pass game opens up, allows for players like Tyreek and Waddle to, maximize their skill sets, and you get less too high looks, which is great. You get more space to work off of play action, at least on a consistent level. And football is a numbers and angles game, and the numbers and angles just look a lot better and more favorable when the run game is very nice. So yeah, having that balanced attack is big. McDaniel knowing when to stick with the run, maybe abandon the run in certain situations. Situational football. And the Dolphins just desperately need the explosives back. And how they get big explosive plays is a consistent run game. Whether the run game itself is the explosive, or that allows you to get more explosive pass plays down the field. That's sort of the key of the offense outside of health potential issues, is can they find a consistent run game? And if they can, the whole playbook gets opened up. Tua's a very good play action pass quarterback. It allows him to build a rhythm, and then that just kind of flows out to everyone else on receiver wise. Let me probably But yeah, the run game on the defensive side of the ball, which we're always talking about the pass rush, but similar to the pass game, like it gets opened up from the run side of things. If the Dolphins defense can stop the run, it puts you in more advantageous positions for you to unleash your pass rushers off the edge. So being disciplined versus the run, the young guys being a big part of that. You have a lot of young guys up front on the interior defensive line. How disciplined can they play early on? I think they're going to do pretty good. And then the linebacker 2 position, can anyone step up and play a pretty good fill role for you as that linebacker 2? We know what to expect out of Jordan Brooks. And then how well the DBs are involved. We want to talk about tackling. Like the Dolphins were like the 9th ranked run defense last year, but they were also the worst. They were the worst team like after contact when like opponents' yards allowed. So like the fact that they were still limiting the run game but not doing good at wrapping up and finishing their first tackles. I think the Dolphins just being a better tackling team will most likely take you to a better level this season. So that's a potential key to success for the Dolphins defense this season, finishing more consistently near the line of scrimmage. And that's for everyone. The linebackers, you got a different D-line group, you got a different edge group, and then DBs too, because sometimes there was DBs that were making first contact, playing in the box, and they were missing some tackles, and I think that should be improved. That's a key to success. Finishing tackles, putting the defense or putting the offense that you're going against your opponent in more 3rd and long situations, and when that happens, that's when your guys that you have on the defense can truly start to take over. You get Jalen Phillips, Chop Robinson, Bradley Chubb. We talk about them as individual pass rushers. We'll know they'll have their wins, but it will also come down to Anthony Weaver and his play calling, because a lot of times he isn't always just relying on those guys one-on-ones. He likes to work his twist stunt games. He likes to bring a lot of fire zone, like different fire zone blitz looks. Maybe they can run some coffee house. I don't know if you guys seen the coffee house blitz recently. That's been pretty popular. Even in college football, it ran a lot. And then you guys like Jordan Brooks, Willie Gay, the interior pass rush will have to have key moments. Especially when you're facing teams that have like top tackles, so your edges aren't able to be as successful. Those will be big keys to success in a lot of specific games as well. And then obviously health just goes without saying pretty much, but gotta mention it that we've seen the defense fall off when, that 2023 season when they just had no health whatsoever. Same thing happened to the offense. But damn. Guess this wasn't the right time to stream. No one is in here right now, but got to pick better timings. Okay. And then, watch out for tomorrow. I'm going to do a Patrick Paul film breakdown, so keep an eye out for that. But continuing seeing this, situational play calling, I think, is a key to success for Miami this season. I know people get caught up in like the generalization of it, but like I'm looking at more specific key moments when the play calling needs to be better, because like overall, I think the play calling will get better with a more consistent run game. But situational play calling in like 3rd and 4th and short situations, can they convert more short yardage? Can they convert more in the red zone? Those are game changers just for teams. Like if you go from near the bottom of the league to at least middle of the pack, maybe in the top half, that can completely turn around a season from your the one that was closest. So being able to convert that stuff will be huge for Miami. And then also defensively the same thing. Can they get key 3rd down stops with the stuff we talked about, and then creating more turnovers? Because I think that's something I want to see out of the defense. I think they brought a lot of guys in that are kind of opportunistic players, because they bring in the opportunistics. Like the secondary has question marks, but a lot of those guys at least have a history of creating turnovers. Rasul Douglas has had a lot of picks in his career. Minka Fitzpatrick, Jack Jones, and then you have a lot of young guys. So I think bringing in these guys that can potentially create some turnovers could be hugely helpful, and having guys up front that are very disruptive can put offensive players in position to have more likelihood to create turnovers. Also, another underrated factor to a game that I think could happen is maybe special teams being improved could be a key. it's not going to be like a every game type thing, but there could be there's a few games where special teams ends up making an impact. We saw it last year, like when, we had a fumbled punt return. It put the Dolphins down really early versus the Packers and put them in a tough spot, and you can't do that in a game where you need to play on your A game. And then there was games like versus the Jets where they had that big kick return before the end, and they were able to tie it and, end up winning in overtime. Like, special teams being better can end up being the difference in a lot of those close games. I wonder if that will be something that maybe we're not talking about, but also who knows, with the kicker injury, that could also hurt Miami. So just gotta, appreciate that, Barry. That could be something that plays a part. Thoughts on Juju Brents? To me, I like the Brents pickup. Those are the types of pickups I think you should make at the waiver claim. Even if they don't work out, it's the ones you should be going for, because it's like the guy's still young, he's still got upside, and there's a reason he got cut, and it's not because he's not good enough to be on a team, it's because of health issues. So maybe a change of scenery can help him out. If it doesn't really waste anything for you. Like, you're not spending a ton on him or anything like that. But he's got a lot of talent, and it's at a big position of need. And I think using a waiver claim on a player like that is a good shout, and I think he's a good player that could be very helpful. So I'm not against it. What's up, Jules? Well, for the month of special teams, yeah. I'm also talking about special teams as a whole, but yeah, that is the new kicker thing could also, put a wrench in things. You did good last night with Arab, Finsko, and the others. Oh, yeah. I was on, if you guys didn't watch that, I was on Reason's roundtable last night with 7 different people. It was like Richmond Webb, Neil Driscoll, Bob Issues, Alf was there, I believe Ball Game, and obviously Reason. Had some good talks. You guys should check that out after this. But yeah, creating more turnovers is something I want to see more this season. And I think just with more teams that create a lot of pressure consistently end up creating turnovers, because that's when you put teams in a tough spot. And I think in the secondary, even though, there's a lot of talent question marks, a lot of those guys do have a sort of knack for playing the football. So hopefully creating more turnovers. And then obviously you want to limit turnovers. But I do think turnovers would be limited, at least, if the run game, like we talked about earlier, is more effective. But yeah, that is something key to look out for. And then going to the secondary, I think it will be helped out a lot from the other things we talked about. The front 7, Weaver's play calling. But I think the key will be Minka. I think Minka will allow a lot of the other players to play in more of a disciplined situation, because Minka can be very versatile. And if your other players just understand their role, they know they don't have to do anything crazy. They can allow Minka to maybe make the risky play. That could help. And I think the corners need to play disciplined. I think that's a key to success, especially in obvious passing situations. If you look at what the Dolphins liked to do last year, when they got into those obvious situations, 3rd and longs, it was a twist and stun up front, a twist or a stunt up front to get a good look from your front 4, maybe a blitz, but you're still bringing mostly just 4 and getting pressure with 4. That's a big key to what the Dolphins need to do. I think they'll be able to get more pressure with just 4 this season because of the players up front. Just having Phillips and Chubb back is huge. And also going just a second year into Weaver's defense, because you saw how the defense just got better as the year went on, getting more used to the play calling. And then the secondary, like we're talking about, they kind of make life easy on second. Like, it's a lot of coverage rotation, but they're not asking a lot out of you in terms of we need you to guard their best player man-to-man, one-on-one. No, we're going to make you coverage rotate, and we're going to make the QB hesitate for an extra half second with that rotation. And then can you make them pay off of that? And can the front then get to them? So just being able to do that stuff is very helpful. Is it true that Miami defense last season was 1 at the line of scrimmage, but missed tackles lowered the run defense grade? Okay, so you're on the right pace, but basically the Dolphins, they ended up overall were the 9th best run defense in terms of rushing yards allowed per game. So 9th best, pretty good. And I think they'll probably be around that range again if I had to guess. But last year they were the best at I think they had the best at meeting like running backs, like yardage wise. Their first contact was like best in the league, but they also gave the most yards after first contact. So that's something they need to improve upon, is still finishing with tackle. So even they were the worst after contact, they still end up being the 9th best run defense team. So that just shows to me if tackling improves, which I think they brought in players that are better tacklers overall. I don't think it's going to be like insanely improved, but I think it'll be enough improvement to where like Dolphins can end up being one of the better teams in the league near the line of scrimmage. Finishing tackles is huge. I think the secondary is better tackling wise. I think that's probably your biggest boost secondary compared to last year. The secondary was not tackling last year. I think those guys back there are willing to tackle. And willingness is, I think, is the biggest thing. You're going to have your missed tackles here and there, but as long as you're willing and, you know, guys are rallying, it should be nice. Yep, they have a lot of ball hawks. Yeah, Ashton, Jack Jones, ruled it. Douglas, Minka, they've all had a lot of like high productive years in terms of on-ball production. And I think the other guys can make at least some plays. Who scares you more, Taylor's legs or Jones' legs? Taylor, for sure. Richardson's leg scares me more than Jones. Do you think we keep Chubb back as a spy? Not Chubb. I don't think the Dolphins are going to have a true spy very often. But if someone does end up spying out of like the edge group, I think Chubb would probably be least likely. Like I think you'll see Phillips have some spy reps. You'll probably see Willie Gay have some spy reps. It just depends on the opponent. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm looking at it right now. But yeah, that's the key there. And then I think probably the most important key to like the immediate success and also future success. We've talked about a lot of things, you know, like overall with what they need, players that need to step up, that will be keys from like both sides and how it all kind of blends in together. But I think one of the biggest things is the key development of the young guys, the second year players and the rookies. How impactful can they be? The second year guys, what type of leap do they take? Does Patrick Paul take a big leap? Which I do think he will take a leap. How much of a leap does Chop take? I'm not too worried about Chop, but it will be interesting to see what type of leap he takes. He was already taking a leap last year, so like I think Chop will be effective. But if Chop's even better than we think, like that's great in the immediate effect, and also long term. And then also, what do you get out of like some of the other second year guys like Malik Washington? I think he'll be solid. You know how I feel about Malik. And then even Jalen Wright, we won't see him for the first few games, but if Jalen Wright, it looks better than he did in the preseason, which I think he will because of I think the blocking will be better. That's just a huge boost to the run game up front. Ollie Gordon as well as we get into the rookies, they need as much help to continue the success of that run game. I think we've said like, can they get 3 starters? It looks like they're going to have 3 technical starters from this rookie class, and Kenneth Grant, even though Kenneth Grant isn't a starter on the depth chart, he's going to be playing starter level snaps. I think the reason Benito's listed as starters, he's a veteran, and they put the Benito there because he's going to be playing more of that 1 tech role. Grant's going to be on the field playing a lot of 3 tech when Steelers playing 3 tech, 5 tech at the same time. So Grant, and then Jonah's going to be a starter. Jonah will be a big key to success. How well can he develop? Can he get on the Chop development train where like he maybe starts a little bit slow? Because I do expect there to be growing pains. I think Jonah's the biggest question mark for me out of the guys that are going to play a lot of snaps. I know he will get a lot of help schematically. It's just how well can he instantly be a threat in the run game? If him and Paul can be pretty quickly working together as a threat in the run game, that will be a huge help for Miami. Such a big help. Because I think pass pro wise, the Dolphins can give him help schematically. Like there's ways around that I'm not too worried about. But like that will be huge. And then Marshall not listed as a starter either, but like it looks like he's gonna be the starting nickel. Who else is gonna start at nickel? Unless they do like 3 safety set nickels, it seems still like Marshall's gonna play a decent amount of snaps. If all of those guys can play at a decent level, it's hugely helpful. The Dolphins have not had a lot of young draft picks really contribute in recent years other than Achane before these past 2 drafts, because you didn't really have any early picks. It was pretty much only Achane for like 2 straight drafts that did anything. And then now it seems like these young guys are starting to contribute. How well can they play? Because that also leads to if they play better than expected, that even makes you feel better about the future of the team. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. Would you go get Peppers? I mean, I'm not against it. I just don't know who they would move on from in the safety position, you know? Trade for a tight end. I'm willing to give a second round, but like, who's going to give up a tight end that's actually worth it? That's a scheme fit. That is actually a do it all, you know? Because I'm pretty sure the Dolphins were one of the teams trying to get Kittle, but he's like one of the only ones really worth it. There's not really anyone out. Like, it's so hard to find that position, and I agree. Tight end's the weakest position, and I've said it. Julian Hill, how well Julian Hill and Alec Ingold play this year as blockers is a key success to Miami's run game. It's one of the most important things that I think people aren't talking about, because we just talked about O-line, and I think better O-line play will help them, but to what level? Because they are going to be key point of attack blockers. They are constantly on the play side of runs, and they are at the point of attack of these plays. It's very huge. McMorris isn't on the team anymore, and then Davis, I think, is going to be a starter, so I don't think they're going to move on from Davis. Mark Andrews. Yeah, it seems. See, I wouldn't give up a second round pick for Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews, to me, doesn't really help the Dolphins' tight ends problem because he can't block, really. He's not a blocker. He can do some things as a receiver, but the Dolphins don't really need that much from a receiving standpoint from the tight end. Like, they can get those types of, like, they can get, like, what you would want out of your tight end. They don't even really need that from the tight end. Like, Nick Westbrook-Akine and Malik Washington, how they're used as, like, slot receivers, can replace a lot of, like, Jonnu's success last year, in my opinion. Like, the Dolphins if they need a tight end, it's someone who's super well-rounded that can do inline blocking things. And then, yeah, they're also a receiver. Great. It's just Mark Andrews doesn't really bring that value to the team. It doesn't really it wouldn't change my outlook of the tight end room that much. Even though he's a good player. McBride would be great. It's just that's super unrealistic. He's a top tight end in the league, and the Cardinals love him. If we're gonna rotate through, having 4 going, especially with if he should be a predator. Yeah, I don't like. They might bring in Peppers. I definitely put the thing with Peppers versus Davis is they're very different safeties, and to me, if they were gonna bring in Peppers, that would be more of like a Melifonwu replacement, because they play more of that strong safety, big nickel type of thing. Well, Ashton is one of the only guys that can really play single high outside of Minka, and I think they want to have Ashton play single high so Minka can be a little more roamy of a player. To be fair, I have not watched how well Peppers has played in recent times, but I know that's the type of player he is. But if they wanted to go Peppers over Iffy, that is a possibility. To me, if they were going, that's what I would. If they were going to bring in Peppers, it would be for Iffy. I just don't know if that's what they want to do at this point. But I also don't know what Melifonwu was really looking like. Knox is realistic. The Bills wouldn't trade, but that's an in-division trade. And also, I mean, it'd be an upgrade, but not like anything game-changing. What's up, W? Yeah, I'm gonna do a stream on Saturday for the Colts breakdown. So we'll get into that for sure. Yeah, but I'm not against Peppers. It's just I wouldn't. If it's Peppers for Melifonwu, that's probably what I would get behind, because that makes the most sense in my head. Like, I wouldn't get rid of Trader. Like, that's too risky. Because I'm thinking more long term. Like, I don't think it's worth it to potentially risk a long term asset. But for Melifonwu, if they think Peppers is better than Melifonwu, I could get behind that, because that's the type of, they're both in that same type of player, more versatile roles, bigger guys. Melifonwu is probably more of a matchup guy on tight ends, but Peppers can, I think, play with some more physicality. What happened with Duggar? He's still on the team. Hey, Lemny Grodad, appreciate it, my guy. It's great seeing you on. I can bring this up. It's great seeing you on Reasons panel. Your knowledge is apparent. Your film breakdowns. Keep up the good work. Hey, that means a lot, my man. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just sort of we had to do like predictions, and if you guys have been around here, you know I don't really like doing predictions because, especially this far in advance, because so much changes. So I just kind of wing the predictions. But yeah, that was fun going in some in-depth stuff on offense and defense. Pretty much agreed with most of the stuff said. Nothing crazy was said last night on there. But yeah, going over some of that success. Yeah, but do you guys have any keys to success? Either something you want to add on what I said earlier, or anything that maybe I missed that you think might be a key to success for this upcoming season? Because if you guys missed the start, obviously, I like broad statements. It's run game on both sides. I think run game is the key on both sides because that then branches out to everything. But then I wanted to go into specifics. Specifics is, I think, the tackles, the guards being upgraded is a key. But I think the tackles being playing at a higher level, just Jackson being healthy and out there is huge. And then Paul, I think, playing probably better than people are expecting him, and him just being a key standpoint out there. I know like Armstead was a good player, but Armstead was constantly in and out of the lineup. Having that chemistry built between those two on the left side is huge. And then Julian Hill and Alec Ingold. Me saying they're going to be key successes, or they're keys to the offense. How well they can play will be very important. Now, I don't know how well they'll play. I think the offensive line being better will help them. But Julian Hill and Alec Ingold are constantly, man. They are asked to do very high-level stuff in this offense in terms of blocking. And there was times last year, especially in short yardage, where they were kind of the ones losing, or other tight ends were losing in those spots. So if they can play at a higher level, that would be a huge help to the team run game-wise. I think NWI kind of plays into that. Tackling being better on defense. Trade for that Giants tight end? What Giants tight end? Talking about Theo? Isn't it between negatives? Oh yeah, some of those predictions out there, like I saw, like, yeah, you guys saw it yesterday, where like I think they had the Dolphins either 28th or 29 in their rankings, and then they had Tua 28th or 29. And to me, that's like I get rankings can be tough. Like, nothing against the rank, because I don't like doing rankings and predictions, because a lot of times if you're not the top, it really can fluctuate in the middle just based on certain things going away or something. So I don't like for me, like that's why I don't rank quarterbacks, because like after the top guys, it really just depends on what team you were. Like if I was a team that was running this offensive scheme, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll take this quarterback over this quarterback. Like in the Dolphins system, Dolphins scheme, what they want to run, like, yeah, I'm taking Tua over most quarterbacks in the league. But if they were in a different scheme, I'd be like, oh yeah, I might take this quarterback over him, then I might not take over him in this other one. But like having him at 28th is crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's literally the why is Tyreek underutilized for Bills and over every matchup? Okay, so off the top of my head, I would say, to answer that question, the Bills run cover 2 at the highest rate against Miami that I think, I believe they run at the highest rate compared to anyone. Like they run cover 2. And if you look at like yards per route run and like all these like the like high NFL level stats, Waddle is the better receiver versus those coverages. So Waddle ends up getting a lot more looks in those plays, and Tyreek just isn't as successful against those coverages. So last time we played the Bills, we found some success because we were able to at least run the ball somewhat effectively, and then that was probably Tua's most efficient game. They didn't do anything like crazy. They didn't take many deep shots. It was just a very efficient game out of Miami. And that was more of a, not taking as many shots at Tyreek. And also I think the Bills put an emphasis on playing with a cap over Tyreek. I don't know why in the Flying Earth we let Pharaoh Brown go. He just really struggled in the preseason, and I guess he just wasn't as good as a scheme fit as they thought. I agree, Julian Hill is not good enough, but Julian Hill just has a higher, in my opinion, when it comes to blocking, Julian Hill's more inconsistent, but he has, like, Pharaoh Brown is more of like a get a body on a body guy, but he'll still have his losing reps. Julian Hill's reps are like he either loses pretty badly or he'll actually physically dominate someone, which is what the Dolphins want. They want a tight end that can move people. And even though Julian Hill is very inconsistent, and sometimes he plays with too much aggression, which actually hurts him and gets the penalties, sometimes when he does get like, good technique on a guy, catches someone off guard, like he will move people. And that's what they need out of this year. Like you go back to his first year, Julian Hill was able to more consistently move people. But yeah, the tight end room, it's going to be tough. But I understand why they rolled with Julian Hill over Pharaoh Brown, just based on what I saw out of Pharaoh Brown in the preseason. Is Latu right or left side or both? I actually don't know. I haven't looked at the film yet. I mean, I can check right now. I can just go to Latu. I'm on NFL Pro. I can just go to I can check, I think, mostly what he played. But I'm imagining he probably played a mix of both sides. Let's see. What number is Latu? Okay, he's at right end on the first snap. I'm just gonna skip around. Let's see. Okay. It looks like he's at right end in the first few snaps that I'm watching. So he would go against Patrick Paul if that continues, but now I'm going to skip ahead to a different game. At right end again. So it seems like he's comfortable playing right defensive end. Defense needs to get some more turnovers this season. Yeah, I think you joined in late, W, but that is one of the points that I end up bringing up in this, that I think a key to success is with all the pressure and disruption created, and with them having more guys on the back end that are more known for being ball hawks, like that's some of their better traits. I think creating more turnovers is a huge help. Look at Pharaoh Brown film. He really didn't play bad. I mean, he did. I mean, I did watch the film, and he didn't play, like, for playing against second and third stringers. Imagine like that film versus first stringers. Like it would be very, very ugly. Like Hayden Rucci was playing better than him against second and third stringers. Dolch's gonna end up being tight end one. I think anything's possible in the tight end room. But I still don't think that will happen, because I think the tight end is going to play the most snaps is Julian Hill. He's the only wide tight end on the roster. Dolchich isn't really a wide tight end either. Like, Julian Hill is going to get all the opportunities. It is what it is. Dolchich isn't much of a blocker either. He can do some stuff, but I don't know. And I don't think Waller is going to play week 1. That's my guess. I've also talked about Tanner Conner. I think Tanner Conner is going to get his most opportunities ever. We'll see what he can do with that. Honestly, though, I think most of his value brought to the team is special teams and him actually not touching the ball, him being more of a horizontal and vertical stretch with just his speed at tight end. Why don't we have faith in Waller? I mean, I think Waller can be a situational player at tight end. Like he's more of a big slot receiver. It's just he hasn't really practiced. Like today, I know he's not practicing, so I don't think he's gonna. I just don't know when he's gonna play, and if he does play, can he get on the same page with Tua? That's a big key. And then, when I'm talking about, he's pretty much a big slot receiver. He's not even really in that tight end group. He's very rarely going to be asked to block in line. And I'm just hoping more so if he does play, it's, hey, can you convert a couple third downs and can you catch some touchdowns? If you do that, then it's worth it. Don't know why we didn't pick a tight end in the draft. Yeah, I think I probably would have done it at one of the spots, but I can't really complain because it seems like the draft's in a pretty decent spot. They had a lot of needs. One position was going to get ignored. Unfortunately, it has been tight end for some time. We'll see what McDaniel has to come up with this year. Maybe put less emphasis on what tight ends are asked to do. asked you in the previous selection, which practice squad player do you think has the potential to be called up and make the biggest impact this season? You wanted to wait. Oh yeah, let me look at the practice squad. Yeah, I think I went over this a little bit, but yeah, we can go over this. I mean, it's tough to predict with injuries, but I think looking at the practice squad, guys that I think actually have a chance to make a potential impact is Quentin Bell, obviously. I think Quentin Bell is a safe bet. Like, if any of the edges got hurt, you can elevate him, and he can be part of the rotation and make a special teams impact pretty quickly. He would probably be one of the more reliable players. Then I would look at the tight end group after that. I think with the tight end group having so many question marks, I think Hayden Rucci, if you need a Y, you bring up Hayden Rucci. And if you need an F tight end, you bring up Greg Dulcich. And I don't think their talent is that below. Like, I think it's pretty similar to the guys that are in the... that are, asked to start right now. So I think they can make a potential difference. This team doesn't need a tight end to be a great offense. They don't need a great receiving tight end to be a great offense. I think they need more consistent blockers to play high-level stuff to at least help. It makes it a lot easier of a path. I mean, back in 2023, the run game was just a lot better because of the O-line, but also Julian Hill was playing at a lot higher of a level in 2023. 2024, it was rough. Also, fullback play is important. Like, those players are constantly asked to block at the point of attack. Like, that's why they have some of these rough blocks, because they are put in these situations where a lot of other tight ends aren't asked to do that in other schemes to block edges one-on-one on the edge and kick people out. And then another one, I think Braden Daniels, maybe. I think Braden Daniels showed me a lot in the preseason, and I wouldn't mind if, like, you have some guard injuries, I wouldn't mind seeing him out there. 2023 with Smythe, he sucked. Yeah, there was definitely not like great tight end play, but it was definitely better, and it was a combination of things. Alec Ingold also played a lot of, those roles you asked to play in the tight end. It just helps out the running game so much. It's a very, it is something the Dolphins shouldn't ignore. Just ignoring it is some negligence on the Dolphins front office of what they're doing. But they don't need like a great receiving threat at tight end. Like, I don't think they need a Jonnu type. But if they have like a Kittle, someone that was that, oh man, it would absolutely change the whole dynamic of the offense. You look at last year's film, most runs were stuffed because of bad tight end play. I mean, it definitely was it was one of the biggest detriments for the offense last year. It was tight end play and guard play. It was so bad. Honestly, feel like Rucci should have made the 50-man roster. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up back there. I just don't know who they would keep him on over the offense, Yeah. Yeah, there was no way they should have paid Jonnu. Especially with what they... Like, Jonnu's a good player, but with what they asked for him, like, his value got raised from the Dolphins not being able to run the ball. Number one. So you think we should just roll out there with not a tight end then, Drew? Is that your plan, your goal? Just roll without a tight end? I mean, turn on the film. You'll see how important tight end is to the Dolphins offense. At least Y tight ends. It's right there. They are at the point of attack of damn near every run. Do you think it's a realistic tight end trade for? Pretty much no one at this point. I don't know if there's any realistic options. I think it's too late. That's what's happening. Then the offense is going to struggle without a wide tight end that can block. Who do you have as stock up and stock down after the first week of college football? I think Taylor Green has a legit chance to crack top 10 with measurables. I actually am not a fan of quarterbacks built like Taylor Green. I don't think those like super long guys like that pretty much ever work out, like long and skinny quarterbacks at the NFL level. There's definitely some talent there, but he's not someone I would put a ton of stock in. I actually think most of the quarterbacks hurt their stock if you're looking at college quarterbacks. But it's only 1 week, so we'll see how it changes. So much changes. Want to bet? Want to bet what? That they're not going to have a tight end out there? What do you want to bet? Think tight end Tyler Warren is going to be used as a rusher against the Dolphins week 1? A rusher? Oh, you mean like get direct snaps? I mean, I don't know what the Colts are doing. I doubt it because I don't think they're a team that really needs it. I don't think that. I mean, they might as well just put Anthony Richardson in at quarterback if they're going to do a direct snap to someone not Daniel Jones, because he can run. You like Pitts? Not for this offense, no. Since we have no blocking tight end, well, I wouldn't say no. Julian Hill is the blocking tight end. Whether you think he can block or not, that is his role. But yeah, run a 6 alignment. It's just not something I'm not against it. It's just I've never seen them do it in this system. So I actually was thinking of like Willie Lampkin, getting him and using him as like a 6 lineman, as almost as like a fullback in certain situations. They didn't do that. Yeah, Ruben Bain's he's like a top 5 prospect as of right now. He's gonna be very good. You said the offense will struggle with a wide tight end who's a great blocker. I said, do you want to bet the offense will struggle with a tight end? Well, I also said, because you weren't here in the beginning, obviously, I was talking about Julian Hill being a key to success this season. I think if Julian Hill plays at a decent level, yeah, the offense could still be very good. I think offensive line and tight end working together. I just think having a consistent wide tight end would help out the run game tremendously. And I don't think Julian Hill is just set up to straight up just be horrible every single rep. I just think it's very naive to try to sit there and pretend like wide tight end does not matter in the Dolphins offense. Like, it's so naive. So much context lacking to some of those statements. Like, even if you go back to the 2023 offense, a lot of the big runs even though they didn't have the greatest blocking tight ends, a lot of the big runs came from big blocks from the tight ends. So on those big plays, there's the Julian Hill on the, momentum motion. He had very big run blocks in situations that helped spring big runs. So I'm just saying, having a consistent tight end that could consistently do that stuff would help out the offense tremendously. That is my point. I would do a first for Kittle. I'm pretty sure, wasn't it around the draft time that it was reported that teams were trying to trade for Kittle and they were trying to trade like a second for Kittle? I believe the Dolphins were one of those teams looking at it, but I don't think the Niners would do that. No, not at this point. They didn't take it. No one has said that. Plenty of people have said it. The notion that it's imperative for a good offense. I mean, it was just important last year as the guard play. Getting better guard play, getting better tight end play is very important. Angled, very important. Dolphins need to be able to run the ball. I don't know why they wouldn't try to, get better at that position. Angled out of bats. Yeah, I need Angled to step up. Yeah, I don't know if he wanted to come here anyways. I'd like to see 6 linemen. I just don't think we will see that. What's up, Phil? I mean, yeah, obviously, Tua missing time is the biggest problem with the offense falling off. But even when Tua played, it wasn't like the offense was anywhere close to previous form, and that was because they couldn't run the ball. How do you get better running the ball? Improving O line, improving the people that are going to run block. Tight ends, O line. I don't really. Pretty much all I'm saying if they want to be better. Because they had better run blocking in 2023. Give up whatever it is for Kittle and win the Super Bowl? Nah. See, like, I'm not giving up a first or even a second for Kittle at this point. Like, as much as Kittle's a good player, that's the problem the Dolphins have ran to the past, giving up picks for older players that potentially hurt the future of the team. I don't think that's the end all be all for this team. The run blocking will be better this season? Yep. I agree. Kittle doesn't move the needle on this team. I mean, he definitely improves the team a lot. But I don't think unless he would make them into like a Super Bowl contender, that's the only way I would make that move. Like he's the only tight end out there that would truly make like a huge impact, I think, instantly on this team. All the other ones would slightly make impacts. It's just really hard to find a tight end like that. But I don't think it's worth it in the long run. Kittle for a third. They already turned down Kittle for a second, so. And that was during the draft. Sam Laporta would make an even bigger impact, in my opinion. I love Sam Laporta. He would not make a bigger impact than Kittle. He's not as good of a blocker. Not even close. And I love Laporta. Laporta's one of my favorite players in the league. He'd make a longer term impact. Trade for Mike Gesicki? What's the point? Gesicki just doesn't fit the team. Looks like so there's no Jalen Wright, no Darren Waller, no Ethan Bonner at practice. D. Eskridge is back in red jersey. Cornell Armstrong and Jason Marshall Jr. were doing some individual nickel work. Tyreek caught passes from Tua, according to Isaiah Smalls. Are you still high on Tyler Warren? Oh yeah, Tyler Warren's going to be very good. And I'm pretty sure he's been looking good for the Colts. We'll get to see him in week 1, see how he ends up looking. I mean, sometimes tight ends take a little bit, but I think Warren will be a player for them pretty early. Hunter Long for a third. Michael Mayer. Michael Mayer would be an interesting piece to add. But yeah. Any other things? You wanted him at 13? I would have taken Tyler Warren at 13. I still would. I would have taken Grant over him. But like I would have been totally good if they took Tyler Warren. He's a stud. He went 14th overall. I don't think wanting him at 13th is that crazy. I just think Grant will probably make more of an impact for what Miami needs this season. But I think Warren would have been a nice impact player for them as well. Like if they took Warren, I would have been happy. But I'm happier they took Grant. Miami must establish a run this year. Right side is the weakest without a blocking time. Miami will have a very long year. I actually think the right side will be more consistent. I told you the Dolphins were taking Grant at 13. Yeah, I mean, I had him taking Grant at 13 plenty of times. I have it written down in my draft notes. Only one player have I written in my draft notes, and in my notes for Grant, I didn't say this about any other player, and I said this about Grant like months in advance of the draft. I forgot I wrote this, but I wrote, my gut is telling me he will be the pick at 13. Wouldn't be surprised if teams prefer him over Mason Graham. That was my notes at the end of Kenneth Grant. So. Not a fan of Rasul Douglas. Oh, you're spelling Russ. I was like Russell Douglas. I mean, yeah, I don't really care for Rasul Douglas either. Mayor would have been sweet. Yeah, if Mayor was like for like a 4th or a 5th, I would have been totally down. Honestly, leave it to the Wolves. I don't know how he's kept that long. He's got to have something on Ross. But I have no idea. Jack Jones should be CB2. I mean, I am not against that at all. But yeah, that will probably be it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.